How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, this is a story in The Guardian. The headline reads, "Pepper spray used in non-violent situations in prison pilot." Now, for those that don't know, before we get into the story, PAVA incapacitant spray, which is similar to what the police use, was trialled in 4 prisons. I think it was Wealdstone, Risley, 2 other prisons as well. I can't think off the top of my head. Right, and it was trialled in 4 prisons. They've tried to say that it worked. The Prison Officers Association lobbied for it. It's going to be rolled out in January of 2019. I've already spoken to people that are still in the prison system that are all putting wagers on, bets on, if you will, to see who's the first prisoner that can get hold of a can of this PAVA spray when it comes in January. It's going to happen, guys. It's going to cause riots. By arming prison officers, violence will be met by violence, and it states here that it was used in non-violent situations, and it can get other people can get caught in the crossfire. It's going to cause problems, guys. To be fair, they're getting rigid bar handcuffs, and they're going to get PAVA spray. And if the Prison Officers Association National Chair, a scumbag officer by the name of Mark Fairhurst, who works at Liverpool Jail or Walton Jail, he wants tactical use of taser in prisons. Yes, you heard it right. Tactical use of taser. Anyway, let's read the story, guys. So, a pepper spray intended for use on violent prisoners in England and Wales has been approved despite being used in non-violent incidents more than a third of the time in a recent trial, a contravening official guidance, the Guardian has learned. The PAVA incapacitant spray, which is notably stronger than CS gas, causes acute pain if sprayed directly into the eyes. One officer described its effects as unbearable, and it's like your skin is peeling off after being affected when it has been deployed. Last December, a 6-month pilot project was launched in 4 prisons, Hull, Preston, Risley and Wealdstone, where it was stated PAVA would be used as a personal protection aid for officers to use reactively to defend themselves or others from serious attack. A report on the trial said the spray was used 50 times in the pilot jails, including 18 times to stop prisoner-on-staff assaults and 14 times to stop prisoner-on-prisoner assaults. The remaining 18 incidents comprised 8 cases of passive non-compliance, so someone giving you a verbal order and you're not following it, 7 of an aggressive non-compliance, 2 of an active self-harm. Why would you like... Now, I'll probably get that, to be honest, the self-harm thing. 1 unspecified incident at height, so somewhere where someone's been on the bars, all of which were non-violent and stated and outside stated guidelines. Like, if someone's on the bars and you spray them, right, and they go like that, and they go to reach for their eyes, to cover their eyes or to rub their eyes, which is an instant, like, is what you can do in that instance, they could fall off the bars. Now, not every prison has like a netting, a metal netting across each landing going down, so that could cause some severe injuries personally. So yeah, an outside stated guidelines. So the report found that levels of violence continued to rise in the 4 jails, so it shows that PAVA spray doesn't work where PAVA was tested. Despite those findings, the spray will now be issued to all officers in state-run prisons. Staff in private sector jails will not be allowed to use it. Discussions are taking place between the Prison Service and the Prison Officers Association about equipping staff in female prisons and juvenile prisons. The incapacitant spray dispensed from a handheld canister containing a solution of pelargonic acid, vanillylclide, has an effective range of up to 4 meters. It's also been approved by the Home Office for use by police forces since 2004. In October, the Prison Service announced that the trials have been successful and the use of PAVA will be rolled out across all prisons in England and Wales. The evaluation report on the trials has not yet been published, but Rob Allen, the co-director of Justice and Prisons, obtained a copy via Freedom of Information request. The report says, some staff that were developing an over-reliance on PAVA spray as a way of resolving conflict and used the spray to enforce rules and gain compliance when it was not clearly the last resort, or when more time spent talking to the prisoner could have been more efficient. Those using PAVA were positive about the spray, even though the staff were affected by its use on 13 occasions. The report said staff played down their descriptions of the impacts of the spray on prisoners, describing it as a minor use of force. Rates of violence in prisons in England and Wales are at an all-time high and are constantly rising. The report said overall violence levels continue to rise across the pilot jails during the period of the trials. Well, if you look through my timeline, right, if you look through my timeline or search ex-Concordia and POA, right, Mark Fairhurst, right, I did an interview with him where he said to me, you don't know what you're talking about. This is reducing violence in the 4 prisons that is being piloted. No, it doesn't, because this is under a Freedom of Information Act, right, which is independent of the Prison Officers Association. And they say that it's been used when it shouldn't have been used, and that the violence continued to soar. So PAVA spray doesn't work, guys, in a nutshell. John Podmore, a former prison governor who ran jails in the high security estate, argued that the use of PAVA spray would only escalate conflict. This is a former prison governor, guys. Should be on the Prison Officers Association side of the fence. He's not. Sensible guy, John Podmore. I think I follow him on Twitter. He asked why the report had not been yet made public, saying, Justice Minister Rory Stewart promised that the prison service would be more transparent, so why is this report being kept under wraps? A prison service spokesman said, PAVA incapacitant spray helped prevent serious self-harm to staff and prisoners, as well as being an additional tool when dealing with violent offenders. Prison officers must complete specialist training before being allowed to carry the spray, ensuring it's only used professionally, safely and lawfully. The spokesperson said, well, that isn't happening. It really, really worries me, guys, about the prospect that in less than a month's time, in 3 weeks' time or something, that this is going to be rolled out. I think it's been rolled out in the 1st of January in, according to that report, public prisons, so Her Majesty's Prison. They're talking about putting it in female prisons and juveniles, like so young offenders, secure training centres or STCs, right? It's affected officers 50 times it was deployed. It affected on 13 occasions it affected the officers. It's going to be a matter of time, right? It really, really is. If that, it's inevitable that a can of this PAVA spray will end up in the hand of prisoners, and then they can then use it on the officers, and then they can get the keys, they can get up on the roof, they can get to other wings. The sky's the limit. Prisoners could take prisons over in an instant. This is not going to reduce violent offending. It's not going to reduce attacks from prisoner to prisoner. It's not going to stop attacks from prisoners to prison officers. It's just not. And by arming prison officers, it's just conflict. There's only one way that conflict can go, really, by arming somebody, and that is up. Because when one officer wouldn't see to use it, another officer would think, right, I'm going to use it. And it says there they became over-reliant on it. There was a prisoner that they sprayed. Do you know how dangerous that is if there's no netting? That prisoner can fall to his death. He could fall head first. And if PAVA sprays played an impact, that officer could end up with, like I say, serious charges on him. Because if he sprays that individual and that individual was holding onto the railings, he gets sprayed, goes like that, he falls head first and dies, the officer could end up finding himself in a dock. Honestly, guys, wouldn't surprise me. Really, really wouldn't. I don't like the prospect of prisoners being PAVA sprayed. Really don't like the prospect of it at all. Like I say, the officers get control and restraint training. They're bringing in rigid bar handcuffs. They're bringing in PAVA spray. According to the National POA chairman, Mark Fairhurst, an horrible scumbag that works at Walton Jail that I've done interviews with countless times. He wants tactical use of taser. He wants us in orange jumpsuits. He wants us locked up 23 hours a day, and then when we're allowed out, put in shackles. Scary, scary prospect, guys. It's not going to aid rehabilitation. It's not going to deter prisoners from kicking off, and it's not going to reduce violent offences. And in the 4 prisons, Preston, Risley, Wealdstone and Hull, it didn't reduce assaults or violence. So why would you roll it out nationally when it's failed you if you by piloting something, you're testing it out. Does it work? If it works, we'll go forward with it. If it fails, we'll look to see another way. It failed, and they're pushing it through and rolling out nationally. And it's going to end up in women's prisons, STC, secure training centres, young offenders institutions, and Her Majesty's prisons. This is the reality, guys. Sad to see. Prison officers like I say, out of ideas. They've got control and restraint training. They get on the buzzers, on the panic buttons and stuff on the radios, and they turn up more bandit. Now they're being armed. Dangerous, dangerous precedent. Don't like it one bit. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. It's not what I think, it's about what you think. I'm going to put a link in the description below. Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.